saphinda satheleka thina nentandokazi yohlelo lenu Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Uhlelo ke mbukeli lamalungelo enu la eMzansi Afrika. Live on SABC 1 as well as SABC Plus. Uhlezi noma Sijongo, uMangcolosi kaJali, uAlisha igama mbukeli sithi nje hello hi kuzo zonke indawo la sihlangana khona imthambele khona uhlelo namhlanje. Mbukeli sithe namhlanje ke ake sithi ukufakela le ndaba le ama specs ukuthi umphakathi neziphathamandla sebebhekene phela nempi yokulwa ukudayiswa kokudla okungaphephile osekuthathe nemphefumulo yezingane ishiya ezinye zigula la eNingizimu Afrika. Asingabe sisapholisa amaseko asingene ushiqe udabini lethu namhlanje. Yebo mbukeli iziphathamandla sezikhiphe umbiko phela uqinisekisa ukuthi ikhemikhali yokubulala izinambuzane iyona le imbangela yokuthi izingane zishone lezi eziyisithupha eSoweto kulamalanga esiqeda ukudlula kuona. Yize kusaphanda kodwa mbukeli ukufa kwazo kukholelwa ukuthi lezi ngane zishone ngomuva kokuthi zidle ama chips eziwathenge esitolo sasendaweni. Lesi simo ke sesilethe ukuthukuthela kwimiphakathi ehlukahlukene la eNingizimu Afrika nesola ukudla okungaphephile okudayiswa futhi ngabahwebi abangabhalisiwe. Nobathembu Zanzi wenze nanku phanda.
Bebevathinja abahlali bevuthulula kwavenkile khaneleka ngokuthengisa ukutya kungakhuselekanga. Kaloku ukusweleka okanye ukugula kwabantwana emveni kokuba betye izinto abazithenge kwivenkile eziloluhlobo ayonto intsha kweli. Esisithandathu sabantwana esisweleke kule nyanga sikuyo silandela ukusweleka kwabantwana abahlanu kulo nyaka uphelileyo. Siganeko eso savusa umnyele kubahlali. Abathengi kweli sebade badikwa iyokosa zivenkile ingakumbi zabarhwebi bangaphandle ezithengisa ukutya kungathi akuchanekanga ngokwezokhuseleko. Kweli tyeli ukufa kwesithandathu sabantwana zichips ekhanelwa ukuba zityhefekile kuphinde kwavusa umnyele kwatsho kwaphakama nabasemagunyeni eburhulumenteni abakwantsasana umasipala kwanemibutho yamalungelo abathengi. Kutshanje umphathiswa wezempilo uGqirha Aaron Motsoaledi ethetha kunye namajelo endaba udize ukuba isizathu sokusweleka kwaba bantwana yikhemikhali organophosphate nesetyenziselwa ukubulala izinambuzane.
We are here today to inform you of the findings of our toxicologist. The results show that the cause of death is unequivocally organophosphate.
Kodwa ukwangoku umphathiswa ukubethelele ukuba akukaziwa ukuba le khemikhali ibisuka phi kwaye kusaqhutywa uphando. Ukungakhuseleki kokutya okuthengiswa kwivenkile kwanabo bashishina ngokuswa phantsi kwempumlo yinkxalabo yeli liphela. iLimpopo lelinye lamaphondo elinqumamise ukuthengiswa kokutya kwizpaza shop ezithengisa kufutshane nezikolo. Oku kuza emva kokuba kusweleke umfundi ekhanelwa ukuba utye ukutya okutyhefekileyo. Oku kugxininisa nangakumbi ukubaluleka kokuqinisekiswa kokuba ukutya kuthengwa kuphinde kugcinwe phantsi kweemeko ezikhuselekileyo.
Iyaxhalabisa msasazi imeko esiyibonayo kuba kanye yenzeka ezinyaweni zethu xa sisuka ii-regulators kulo area okanye sithi sisaxakeke ngapha sizama uku-inspector sifundisa abathengi kube kusuthwa kwelinye icala the same province kunale meko lena. Kodwa I think kufuneka ubana si understand ukubaluleka kokuphathwa kakuhle kokutya from kwi-production apho kwenziwa khona, packaging naxa kudistributwa kusiwa ngoku kwi-retailers okanye kwiivenkile zethu kufike kugcinwe njani apho, kupackagwe kanjani naxa kuthengiswa kusiwa kumthengi esuka evenkileni going home ukuhandlisha kanjani xa kefika endlini ukubeka phi.
Kutshanje iNational Consumer Commission NCC ngamafuphi iphehlelele iphulo lokuhlolwa kwendawo nemeko ekuthengiselwa kuzo ukutya ngenjongo zokunciphisa iziganeko zokuthengiswa kokutya okubolileyo kwanokuphelelwe lixesha.
Xa ujonga ukusukela uqala kwethu ukuphehlelela eliphulo sifumanisa ukuthi kakhulu abathengi basafumana ukutya okuphelelwe lixesha. Okunye xa ukujonga ufumanisa ubana okwakumelanga ukuthi kungaba sezishelfini okanye ezifrijini. Okunye ukutya mhlambi if ku-repackaged masithi kuthathwe i-chicken pieces from ibhegi enkulu kufakwe kwi-plastic eclear. now umthengi akayazi umana yeyiphi le product ayithengayo, yeyiphi i-brand, yenziwe nini, ithini address njalo njalo, as i-requirement kwi-Consumer Protection Act. Apho sifumanisa ukuthi kukho ukungalandelwa kwe-Consumer Protection Act. We have decided ukuthi either sikhupha i-compliance notices, we are also investigating some suppliers. Western Cape, about 23, eLimpopo nakhona about 22.
Ngaphandle kokuqwalasela iimpawu ezichaza kakuhle ukuba ukutya kuveliswe phi, kusetyenziswa ntoni, kwaye ithini imilinganiselo esetyenzisiweyo kwanexesha lokuphelelwa kwako, abathengi bayakhuthazwa ukuba baqinisekise ukuba bagcina ukutya phantsi kweemeko ezikhuselekileyo. Ukutya okufanele ukuba kugcinwe kwisikhenkcezisi kukhuthazwa ukuba kugcinwe kuso kungaboli, kwaye nokuhlanjwa kwezandla phambi kokuphatha ukutya yinto esashunyayezwayo. Nangona basemagunyeni noosomashishini benoxanduva lokuba abathengi bafumane ukutya okukhuselekileyo kwiindawo ezicocekileyo, ikwayindima yabathengi ukuqinisekisa ukuba benza eyabo indima yokuhlolisisa, bafunde imibhalo kwiimpawu ezincanyathiselweyo. Nobathemba Uzantsi, Yilungelo Lakho.
Masibonga kakhulu ngalo mbiko esudidiyelwe intokazi Nobathemba Uzantsi. Mbukeli asamukela ivakashi zethu ke namhlanje ukuthi phela basicebise ngodaba lethu la namhlanje. Let's welcome Matlou Setati, yena ke uvele kwi-Consumer Goods Council of South Africa alongside insizwa uBuden Nkuna umele i-National Health Department. Ladies and gentlemen, great having you with us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Siyaphila. Sis Matlou, let's start with you. Buden, I'm going to talk to you about, of course, the recent release, your minister's statement and so forth. But Sis Matlou, we've had you multiple times la studio, but isn't there a better time to re-acclimatize and remind our viewers wethu ngokuthi umsebenzi wenu nama-services eniwaprovidayo nina yini kahle kahle as the Consumer Goods Council yala eNingizimu Afrika?
Angibulise, and really it's very sad sometimes to come back here and be in the same situation that we started off way back. But it's always great to be with the viewers. And I'm going to be very slow today. We are GS1 South Africa, trading as the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa. We are an NPO, and we've got an inclination and alignment with GS1 Global. These are the people that have voluntary standards in terms of traceability. What they were saying in terms of the investigations that has to be made. Yeah. You need to know where things were produced, who was the manufacturer, who was the farmer, the chain. Yes. So there are standards, voluntary standards that exist globally. When you export to the EU, they want you to have a digital passport that is enabled by the standards.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
Simple thing. Everyone gets a barcode when they put on their bottles or on their products.
Yes.
It's very critical because that tells the person that you're trading with who are you, physical address of location. This is why I have this bottle here. This is a bottled water. It's got a barcode. It's a reseller barcode. It's a reseller barcode. Normally, I don't want to show the brand name.
Yes, yes.
Our barcode in South Africa, we've got a 600, the prefix that starts with 600.
Okay.
Sometimes we've got a 547. It's a company that bought barcodes globally. It might be a multinational.
Okay.
So let's not be misled by the 600 and the 547. But the key thing is this. Amazing things. I said last time when I was here, we're cooking something. We've got an app, my CGCSA app. You click that app, you download it, you scan on the barcode. It shows you the image of that product, okay, and it gives you minimal information in terms of who is the rightful owner of that product. And what we have picked up, and which is why we always emphasize that regulations and the label, and that's the work that we do on the CGCSA side,
yes,
outside of the standards and the barcoding. We always say, people, you need to be acquainted with the label. I've picked up something, and I want to test people that have not been complying. Put your physical address on your products so that the inspectors can know where to find you.
Okay.
So when we're shopping, Abantu Base South Africa, I've got a new tool for you. If someone has this one, the barcode is not the right one. When you click it, it shows a communications company.
Okay.
and the producer does not have a physical address, how are inspectors going to find out where you are producing?
Okay.
Because it's a chain, we hand over, and that's traceability.
Okay.
So we do awareness, we help the sector, small, medium, everyone. We say, come one, come all. Let's learn together. Let's have guidelines in place. Let's engage the standards and also leverage off what the regulations are already in place. Educate each other, then we can comply. It's as easy as complying. I was telling one of your producers that it starts with the heart. When you cook at home, it's the same thing. It's the willingness that you are sure that what I'm going to give to the next person, I can assure it's coming from here and it's safe. I hope today I've done justice to the organization.
Thank you so much for that clarity. We're going to get in further into izinto zo labeling so that maybe uchazela abantu ukuthi what are some of the easiest ways that they can actually just umuntu afunde label understand ukuthi this packaging ichaza ukuthi nokuthi nokuthi. But then we just saw ilokhuzana laphayana siceda ubona umbiko laphaya ugovernment uthi a pesticide known as organophosphate is actually linked as the cause of death of the 6 children laphaya in Naledi, Soweto, but investigations are still going on. Now that's a very loaded statement. Ngicela usichazele insizwa ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Sibonge msaka. I-investigation le si busy ngayo manje I relator linkeni if kutholakale manje some poison kulabantwana, then for you to be able to link it to a certain premise, you need to do environmental surveillance.
Okay.
Which is what we are doing last week in that specific area se Naledi, la besiya khona kuwo wonke lama tuck shop ase Naledi, which was about 84 that were visited, others were closed, but begu kwenziwa lama inspection, and then kuthathwa ama sample from the surfaces and whatever that they find in the specific shops. So anything that relates to the environment, because contamination can happen from the environment, and that's why we had to satisfy ourselves that we sweep the environment and we see what is actually available there.
But let's talk about it in broader context, Buden. So are we not saying ukuthi at this stage labantwana bashone as a direct result ogudla lama chips lawa or lama snacks abawathenge kule business, but it has something to do with a chemical that somehow got into contact with these food products adliwe abantwana?
Kunzima kwamanje.
I'm sure it's difficult to trace ukuthi handling kuhambe kanjani kuhamba kanjani.
Yeah, ngoba chemical lenetholakalayo normally ayisetshenziswa ekudleni.
Yani le chemical Buden.
Okwamanje I-organophosphate isebenza ku-agricultural use. It's for the soil, it's for the crops.
Okay.
So akumelanga ibe khona ekudleni lokho ready to eat like ama chips. So it's very strange ukuthi kutholakale that chemical kulabantwana, and then now you need to link how did it get to be ingested. Ngoba it's not normally used for cooking or for preparing food.
We're going to hopefully find out before the end of this show. We're back shortly after that, and then what are some of your concerns pertaining to lama cases a food poisoning, particularly target abantwana. We're back shortly after this. Welcome back to Yilungelo Lakho. Namhlanje ke sidingida udaba le food safety njengoba ke siqeda ukubona nje einsukwini ukuthi kuthiwa izingane ezinye ziyagula futhi ezinye ishonile lapha eNaledi eSoweto emva kokuthi kuzidle ukudla ekuthiwa kuyasolwa ukuthi ngabe mhlambe ku-contaminated or okanye kuno-poison. Ungashayela ucingo la studio mbukele 011-714-0671 or 714-0672. Ungasithumela iWhatsApp 0608449857 or email us consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyatholakala futhi on our social media platforms. My guest today is Matlou Setati ovela kwi-Consumer Goods Council as well as Nkuna ovela kwi-Department of Health. Before siqhubeka nodaba lethu mbukela ake siza ukuthi nina nithini njengabathengi emgaqweni.
Anthengi kwi-tuck shops unless ndizothenga isonka nje on a first day okanye ngizothenga snacks, but usually izinto ezifana nenyama, canned food, izinto nje singazitya like for uzipheke anidle ngozithenga kwi-tuck shops because ndiyazi uba usually ziyahlala.
Xa ndiyothenga ukutya I make sure uba ndijonga expiry date, ndijonga nendawo endithenga kuyo. For instance kudala zisenzeka ezinto, so in most cases I make sure uba xa ngibona uba i-date ayikho right I go back ndiyakuphindisela.
The government is not doing enough to check that the food that is being sold in the spaza shops or like local food markets is being safe for consumers. I think over and above everything, it's their mandate to check that the food that's being sold is perfect for consumers to take.
I think the government might look into it, how they are managed, and ensure my expiry date, which there is a certain time limit, maybe which is like 3 months away from expiry date should be checked.
Ndiyacebisa uba mhlambi xa uthenga uqala ujonge expiry date, ujonge i-cleanliness ye-shop lena, and then ke ngoku sizame manje uba singene na kwezinye shops nangona the prices might be higher because ndifela ngathi the more clean a place is and then the higher the prices are.
Very interesting reviews there. So Matlou, what do you say to this ukuthi abantu actually are aware of the fact that i-product, i-lokhuzana packaging, it's there for a specific reason ukuthi kumele ngiyifunde ngiyi-understand, yet they fall short of actually ukuthi bayifunde bayi-understand lama labels.
Or singayifundi uma ingekho.
Exactly. Or exactly, we don't insist.
Siyawatanda amashwamshwam nami ngiyawatanda nokuthenga leli bag elingaka ngithi minimize risk because i-handling of food angisho ihamba nezandla. Ufanele uensure ukuthi whatever you transfer to the smaller plastic, you transferring the risk. So now I'm so glad that i-consumer yethu are saying those reviews. It means what we are doing is not in vain. But I think fanele siyenze even more ukuthi abantu bajwayele. And I like the element of price because to produce and to deliver and to sell products cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
The price aspect is very critical because if it is too good to be true, kune sense yokuthi ingathi la kukhathiwe ama shortcuts. Yes. Because if awinvestanga kubantu abafana nama EHPs nama food scientists uyaproducer nje, sibone i-pictures. That's why we're saying if physical address is regulated by law, umthetho uthi you must have a physical address for those purposes that you need to be traceable for the inspectors to come and see where you are, your farm, your kitchen, your whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's the telltale signs that you'd find on a label that will tell you spelling errors. I mean, if yenza into imshika spelling as considered.
I don't even think bagnaga lo.
Bagnagi, there was a joke where a cow on a milk cartoon had shifted when they printed. And I was so glad that the consumers are picking that up. So it's more and more about the key things that you look at, not only the date marking, because as we remember, sine best before date, which says I'm no longer the greatest quality than I was. E-expiry, definite date, it shall not be sold. So we keep emphasizing uguti, as Jong and uguti, is it a best before date or is it an expiry? So that we don't cause more problems. But another element which I disliked of people using the knowledge that we are imparting on them and saying, oh, it's still best before. Have you assured uguti is safe? Uyayibona ukuthi imdaga ihleli ku shelf. Kodwa you're quoting it best before. It's wrong leyo.
Okay. All right. Then, I mean, let's talk about that. We heard we insert bati ama inspectors Abanye, I don't know if it's due to corruption. Abanye, you were just making a reference to the fact that ezinye itolo ziyavala, so you do not necessarily have inspectors gaining access to wonke lama shops. So what is government then, or the health department, doing to try and ensure that health inspectors wabo do get access and they cannot be locked out? Sibone situation where we saw on some of those videos where amalokuzana, JMPD had to literally break locks to gain entry to lezo itolo.
Ngibonge lapho Msakati. Ma inspectors anikwe ma powers by legislation to gain access. Bane right to enter any premises where food is handled. Kodwa if kunema challenges like last week, the shops labangakakhona ingena kuwo avalwe ngoba anikwe ma prohibition notices ngoba our comply. Not ngoba avalwe to prevent access for inspectors. But they were closed down ngoba banga comply to the legislation. Kodwa la kugcine kuvulwa khona ngenkani kungoba some of the owners maybe were trying to keep the inspectors away. Kodwa because we have the power to actually gain access, abakhona ukuzivalela ngaphandle, siyakhona ukuthi labazivalela khona sikhona ukungena. We are working with the South African Police Service, and also if kukhona the local like uma metro kuba khona bo lama police departments laba khona. We also work with them and other security structures.
All right.
Going forward.
All right, hold that thought, but then I want to quickly go to lines. Anonymous kade bambile lapha ocingweni all the way from Queenstown. Anonymous, thank you so much. Ukuthi usishayile ucingo namhlanje. Singakuncedisa kanjani namhlanje?
Ngiyabonga mama ngokubamba ikholi yami mama ne.
Siyabulela tata.
Hayi ngiyakuzwa mama ngikuzwa kahle ngijabulile mama. Lokho kuyinkinga ngoba mama akuqali. Labantu laba bathengisa ukudla okungekho emgangathweni and oku-expireile. Lokho kuyaziwa. Lokho okwaseNaledi akuqali. Last year kwabhubha 3 eNaledi. But kuma investigation wafumanisa into yokuba ababulawanga yilo ma-chips abawathenge kuma-spaza shop. Ithi into abantwana bathenge ama-snacks espaza shop. Mabeqeda kwathenga babe sebeyagula babe sebeyashona. Isho lena. Now ugovernment uya-investigate ufumanisa ukuthi lezi spaza shop zithengisa ukudla okungekho emganga oku-expireile, which means in other words it's not a new thing, it's an old thing. Why our government ezaphakamisa amanyawo ngokuthi kubhubha umuntu eSouth Africa ngoba kudala sikhala ngalokho? For example, iCoca yalabo bantu labo ayiyo leyenziwa eCoca-Cola. Are you aware about that?
Anonymous, sabulela tata, sabulela kakhulu ngalo mbono wako today. We're going to address our comments wako shortly after this break. And again, let's take another quick ad break. We're back with more after that. Our lines are wide open. 011-714-0671, alternatively 714-0672. WhatsApp us 060-844-9857 or email us your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za. My guest today, Matlou Setati from the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, as well as Nkuna from the Department of Health. And of course, namhlanje bukele sikhuluma ngokuthi food safety, lento ekuthiwa ukudla kuphathwa kahle kuze kufike esandleni sakho ukuthi usidle. Kusuke kuphume kuphi and ubani owenza sure ukuthi by the time ukuthenga wena uya nako endlini uyokusebenzisa kuphephile. All right, so but then uyamuzwa uAnonymous lapha ya eLokhuzeni eQueenstown uyakhala ngempela, and we were just having a discussion of ukuthi indlela akhuluma ngayo nathi if we come forward as communities uyasho ukuthi most yalama lokhuzana yama dealers, they are not formal, they are not formally registered, abekho compliant, badayisa kuyaziwa ukuthi badayisa ukudla okubolile noma okungekho up to standard. So uyabuza ukuthi what needs to be done? Like when will government then wake up and say maybe we need to start looking at before sinikeza abantu ama-operating licenses or enforcing a compliance, let's start where we actually created this issue, which is where we issued ama-license ukuthi abantu basebenze.
Ngibonge kodwa uma sithi kuyaziwa ukuthi badayisa ukudla okungekho right, maybe angeke kube right kanjalo ngoba if kwaziwa either lona okubonayo kumele report.
Kumele ba report.
Kumele ba report kuma authorities. I-food safety function iguma district municipalities awu 44, ibuye ibe kuma metropolitan municipalities of the country I8. So each and every area lana ku country has got a municipality close to them where they can report. Akudingi baze bafone, they can just walk to the offices to report and it can be addressed. So iloko esicelayo kuma members of the public to report if they see something wrong happening so that the authorities can respond. Ngoba they cannot be all over at all the time. So we need to work with each other and assist and report where we see wrong things being done.
So Matlou, when as a person who has experience as a food inspector, I mean, maybe take us through a process of food inspection. What is done? Ni testa ini, which part of food samples do you take? Iganjani, nenza njani? Osichacisele.
Ngisebenzile, and it was such an amazing journey. I drove all over the Free State up until Sasolburg to ensure that people are educated, because inspection work, it's not only coming with a hammer and saying, I'm going to be doing this. There's an education element. And when you do that, at that point, and I think this is the challenge also in South Africa, we've got inspectors sitting at different government departments.
Yes.
So they are scattered. At some point you enter, you are from one department,
so
and
they're
the
working
person
in silos. It's not a collaborative effort.
So the mandate that you have compels you to do certain tests.
Okay.
Could be quality tests where you're checking the fat content, if there's water added to
Sugar,
milk
whatever.
or whichever. Or if it says fat-free, you need to take a sample to go and confirm. Either you do the test, we used to do tests because we are qualified and trained to do tests in a small laboratory. And where there's concern, you then take it to a laboratory outside for further confirmation. So it's not just visual checks that needs to happen. We need infrastructure in South Africa to support the inspectors that collect the samples. And as you can imagine, you need a speedy response for those samples. If you send them, we need to get an answer, because that thing could be a problem whilst you're waiting for test results. So it needs to be a very active role that you're playing. It's like a lifestyle. As you're driving through, you might see something that is odd. Like driving here, I saw someone with a truckload of meat covered in a cow hide. And
in
this heat. So this is South Africa. That's what we deal with. As Ubabden says, inspectors cannot be everywhere.
True.
And this is why we came up with the app to say such things, when they happen instantly, download the MyCGCSA app, scan, take pictures, and report it online. And what we do with that data, because we do not have the mandate to go and enforce, we take that data, give it to the officials, and then they can go and enforce.
All right. Okay, hold that thought again, Matlou, because I really want to go back to the lines. Upili, emalahleni usimele, but Pili sakwamukela nsizwa ohlelweni umbuzo noma umbono.
Okay, sanibona.
Yebo baba kanjani?
Mina kahle benginombuzo we-app mara ngizwile usesiphinde wakhuluma ngane.
Yebo ngabuza.
So umbono wami uthi kahle akuselanga sibheke i-government yodwa ukuthi isisize. Yabona njengamanje sekuze kunama-app, and lama-app lawo ngiyafisa ukuthi athanda mhlambe aya-advertiswa kuma-social media ukuze nathi masiyothenga lezo zitoro lezo sikwazi ukuthi wasebenzise sibone ukuthi sithenge izinto ezikahle or sithenge izinto ezingekho kahle na. Okokugcina-ke abantwana bethu mabathenga izinto modele sibamonithare ngoba siyalahlekelwa izingane nkosikazi. Umbono omphelela lapho.
Oh, siyabonga kakhulu Butbili all the way emalahleni, and we really appreciate Lombon. But then I want to go back to that conversation that Usis Matlou and I were actually having, the fact that there's no collaborative effort. So there's no, you can't give back a detailed report back ukuthi yonke ilokuzana. Every step that was supposed to be undertaken was actually undertaken. So when are you going to consolidate bonke labantu laba that need to be looking into the issue of food safety so that they work as a unit?
government already took a decision that the 3 departments responsible for food safety need to work together, not only from now.
Okay.
Dating back when we had the issue of meat saga about the VOS and whatever that was happening.
Yes, listeriosis.
Since then, Parliament issued an instruction that agriculture, health, and Department of Trade and Industry, because they have a role to play in food, need to work together. Since then, these departments have been working together. Last week, when we were busy out in Naledi, all these departments were on the ground working together. So the issue of working in silos has been there maybe before, but it has been recognized and it has been addressed. Now, going out to deal with food issues, the instruction is that all departments responsible need to work together. So it might have been there, or there might be issues that need to be perfected, but working together is what the government is currently doing.
Let's talk about some of your inspectors, but then when they come back to give you a report back, particularly pertaining to amalokuzana, ama township businesses, angifuni ukuthi ngithi ama foreign owned spaza shops, but many bathumela lapha ukuthi bayokwenza due diligence, umsebenzi wabo, ama duties wabo. What are some, where first of all does the data go to ababuya nayo? What do you do with the data? And do you do ama follow-ups if you pick up a trend ukuthi ngathi kuzoba ne contamination in certain products, so that then you try and tell the vendors ukuthi again miseni le product, as ulokhuzana usis Matlou was saying ukuthi you need ama results instantly, because if failure for you to hold that product ukuthi ibe se shelfini, ngafika mina ngithenge kusasa and then I die of food poisoning.
Our municipality have the power to remove any product labayithola ingase compliant, but in terms of reporting, each department has got a district health information system, a DHIS, which every month municipalities are reporting on regarding food safety issues. Taking of samples that they need to take, it goes into that.
Is this from inspectors?
Yes, inspectors. Yeah, they use that app to load their information in terms of...
But then hold that thought, because I really want you to explain in detail after this break. And Mbugeli, let's take another quick ad break. We're back shortly after that. We're still talking about food safety and food handling. Njengoba sesibonile ukuthi abantwana bayashona, abanye futhi bagcina sebegula eningizimu Afrika ngokususpecta ukuthi badle ukudla ekuthiwa ngenza ukuthi ku-expire noma mhlambe kubolile. 011-714-0671, alternatively 714-0672. 0608449857 is our WhatsApp line, or send us an email. My guest today, Matlou Setati from the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, alongside Nkuna from the Department of Health. So, but then ubusasichazela into ebalekile before ngikhatha lapha ngithi asiye ekhefini, ngicela uqhubeke baba.
Ngiyabonga. Bengikhuluma nge-reporting platform, i-District Health Information System. All the 52 municipalities every month kumele ba-report on their activities on food safety and other work that they do.
Yes.
So that is the platform the department uses, and also it uses the very same platform for planning purposes. Kodwa-ke municipalities, when they go out and they find something wrong, they don't have to report because they have the powers given to them by the minister to enforce. So they don't go to a premise, find that things are wrong and wait to be instructed either to remove a product or to enforce the law. So they have the powers to enforce.
All right. So, Sis Matlou, I mean, it's quite concerning, right? Uguti, we're talking about the importance of awareness and education around food labeling. But our victims in this case, we know those kids that died, abantwana abancane, kids that do not have a formal understanding, or ama cognitive senses wabo are not fully developed ukuthi ba understand ukuthi muthi barcode ngi-download the app. How do we then safeguard labantu who are more vulnerable? Because yena, like you were saying, ufuna snack because sidliwa uMatlou waka next door, asambeni sonke in groups siyowathenga.
I think, as they say, education iqala ekhaya, and ikolo zethu, they are very critical to play a role. if you have a child and they come back and say, "Uticha uti," that's the Bible. As a mother, as a parent, you've got no leeway because the parent would have said, "Uticha uti." So education yethu is very critical. Uma kufunwa information efanele ibe imparted in terms of the understanding ye industry. We are open to say, come and take collateral in terms of what you can put in your education side.
Just
but
hold the thought,
Ekaya as well.
Sis Matlou, I want to quickly go to the lines before Simluza Putmandla lapha eMatsolo. Putmandla, a very good afternoon to you, Nsizwa. Thank you so much for staying on the line. Ungabuza umbuzo namhlanje noma ubeka umbono, Nsizwa.
Ngiyabingelela msakazi, ngibingelele nekusambili lapho onazo emsakazweni.
Sakwamukela baba, go ahead.
Yes. Ngine concern la ngale sihloko enikhuluma ngaso namuhla because it's a very touching sihloko lesi ngoba nathi sibe nesimo esinjalo la kithi eMatsolo. I think it's last week. Sabona abantwana abawu-24 ba-admithwa esibhedlela from iEnzane Primary School. So bengiconcern kakhulu la ku-department yenkozuma ukuthi ngathi inga-upgrade indlela esebenza ngakhona because la kithi we are more surrounded by the Indians and I don't think ama-Indians banawo ama-requirement okuthengisa. So ngathi lapho kungenzeka ukuthi kube khona le ndlela abasesha ngayo ukuthi umuntu odayisayo unawo yini ama-requirement okudayisa. Then ibuye ku-department futhi ye-health ubaba ukuthi ngathi bangasenzela lama-program because not all of us lesinama-access ngokuskena lama-barcode. Sinabantu abadala, sinabantwana. Kuyafuneka ngathi lama-programs lawo angaba khona emphakathini bafundiswe ngale zinto so that sizoba familiar because mina manje senginayo le information but what about those laba manje bangabukelanga abazi ukuthi kwenzekani. So uma ngaba nalama programs lawo beze emphakathini bafundise ukuthi usually uma ngabe uthenga kube use ukuthi ubheke i-barcode uskene leyo barcode ubheke expiring date. Ngikhuluma because there's someone of the shop the time kwenzeka le incident yalabantwana sihambile la isitolo samandiya. I bought a video la athengisa impuphu ezidabukile athengisa ama-snacks expired. So uyabona ukuthi lezi zinto zikhona la mphakathini wethu but because of lacking of the knowledge ukuthi uma kusho ukuthatha ukuyise kuphi, that's why they are keep on selling lezi zinto lezo because bayabona ukuthi abantu abamnyama baboni lutho bayathenga nje keep on buying. Sifuna ukuvuka lesikhathi sekune-incident ukuthi nangu umntwana so ulele esibhedlela, nangu umntwana so ufile it's where why we are standing up. Kanti lento kufuna siyishukumele ibe sometimes mhlampe kabili onyakeni bayenza abantu bayafundiswa kuyangenwa futhi la emashop kube inorm ukuthi amashop ayacheckwa each and every time. Or uma ngabe ukuthi department yona mhlambe lacking of infrastructure ukuthi bangakwenza lokho bangakhetha la kuma-communities sinama-community leaders sinawo wonke ama-structures sinawo ukuthi lapho kulama-structures bakhethe maybe some of the people labangancedisana ne-department ukuthi benze bathumele information ku-department.
But Mandla siyabonga kakhulu baba ngalo mbono wakho, very very intriguing ukuthi kukhona abantu abafana no But Mandla who are actually here to try and find solutions. But then umzwila ngithi ukuthi ama suggestions wakhe I'm sure ububhala phansi, but it speaks to that thing ebesikhuluma ngayo Sis Matlou of collaboration, awareness, particularly to those that don't actually have the necessary information at their fingertips.
Correct. And we must appreciate Kanene. We've been working with the municipality, Salga, the body that manages all.
Yes.
Our municipalities as vulele indlela to come and educate them first to understand what could be done and what are the efficiencies that they can use when they do inspections.
Are you currently on a drive at this
moment?
Yes,
we've been to Mpumalanga, but at this point it was just officials. And we've already trained over 300 SAPS in Gauteng, and we've done Northwest and we've done Gauteng EHPs. So it's all about that collaborative aspect to say, where are the hotspots areas? Can we go? And because we are not government, but we are open to work with government. Assist. Where we are called to say, come, let's do this collectively, we are able to motivate. And I always call on my big members to say, please come to the party. let's sponsor these sessions. Let's go to the, the Matzulus of this world to go. We've had amazing, we've had amazing support from I can mention them, Coca-Cola. They've been brilliant in supporting us. They get to fund our travels so that we can get the information out there. So it's all about that. And to Buten's point, if there were any justice in the South African perspective, we should be, when we wake up weekly, we get a sense where there's a high rise or an uptick of risks. At least if it's not publicly facing like the CDC does, it needs to go to the relevant stakeholders so that we can inform the rest of the people to say there's an uptick of listeriosis, there's an uptick of, you activate the ground forces. So if we do not have this data collated in a central point, then who are we? We're doing amazing on crime from our risk initiative.
So, Sis Matlou, who are you addressing this to? Because it needs to be...
Before
let me take another quick ad break because let's take another ad break and understand we're back shortly after this. Well, it's our final segment. Yilungelo Lakho, still looking at issues pertaining to food safety. Njengoba sekushone abantwana abaningi la eNingizimu Afrika abanye begula after bethenge ukudla kwipaza zangakubo or ngasezikoleni. Uthola ukuthi ke manje sekunophando olenziwa yidepartment ukuthi kwenzakale kanjani ukuthi sifike kuleso simo. All right, I still have my guests in studio with me. I want to quickly go to the lines. Ngithathe uNtaba eCofimvaba. Ntaba, thank you so much for ukusithinta namhlanje ocingweni. Ngicela nje usibuze umbuzo wakho noma ubeke umbono very quickly.
Umbuzo wami sisi ngicela uqonda ingaba i-inspectors azibribwana into ezinjenge-bribery. Into abangabandibuze lo mbuzo. Siyibona phaa kwi-RDP houses. Siqalwa phansi kubonakala into bazokhiwa rongo. Siphelile kanjalo inkosi.
Inkosi Ntaba all the way from eCofimvaba uyamuzwa. But then we have ama-inspectors wenu, how bribery proof, how corruption proof are they against labantu abahamba ba inspector very quickly?
Ama-inspector, they are registered with the Health Professions Council, which guides their professionalism and their ethics. So if they are found, they need to be registered, and when they operate, they have this registration number.
All right.
So if you come across a person who's taking bribes, you can report either to the municipality where they are appointed or to the Health Professions Council, and they will be deregistered.
All right. Kana omunye la uthi ngicela ukuba anonymous. It's useless to actually report some of these spaza shops because we are scared of our local police because they are collecting money from those shops, promising them to protect them from us. It's hard for us to come forward as they have gunmen who are also looking after them and paying them some amount every month. And then Utabo Simon Lovo, good evening, Alicia. They always act after action. We are not safe in our own country. I'm going to close this discussion very quickly, Sis Matlou. You were making an impassioned plea. Uguti bandlucela ban recognize, ban use, uguti kusetshenziswe South Africa very quickly. You've got 30 seconds.
Icelo lami, and with all the food safety professionals. Sicela mhlambe iGNU mayisebenze. Sacela i-food safety policy so that we can map who's working in this and what are the key things that we need to do.
All right.
And another thing is that we need to be traceable in South Africa. We need to know who's manufacturing our food products.
All right. Unfortunately, Matlou, I'm out of time, Gabonga. Anyway, I hope you were taking notes. I saw you very busy throughout this show. Ama suggestions, ama solutions that our viewers have also asked you. Please look into this. That's unfortunately where we come to the end of our show today. Let me thank my guests for making their time to be with us. This is Matlou Setati, the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, alongside Nkuna, Department of Health. For myself, for Alicia Unontlantwakajani, be vigilant around everything before nifake emlonyeni. Nisale kahle.
awungela